You are not crazy. You're not. You are probably exactly where you should be in this entrepreneurial journey. Confused about what I'm saying? Well, I'm just trying to tell you that there are stages to this whole thing. Yes, textbook written stages of what you're going to go through step by step in your entrepreneurial journey. And knowing what these stages are, what you need to do in these stages, and what you got to do in order to get to the next stage is half the battle. And trust me, once you know what you need to do, then you will be able to move through the stages with ease and ultimately get to that place of entrepreneurial freedom. Want to know what those stages are and what you need to do and how to get to the next one? That's exactly what I'm going to tell you today. Let's get to work. Entrepreneurship is not just about having a great idea and being able to sell it. It is a journey. And with that journey comes some very strategic stages that every entrepreneur must go through. And mastering each of these stages brings you that much closer to your end goal and to that end result of true freedom and being able to build an empire and being able to build a legacy and having entrepreneurial and time and decision-making freedom. Today, I am going to make sure that you learn exactly what the stages are so that you can identify where you are and also tell you exactly what you have to conquer in each stage in order to move into that next phase. Because you might be sitting there right now feeling like you have no idea if you're on the right track, if you're doing the right thing. You may feel stagnant. You may feel like you're not moving forward. But I guarantee you, if you feel that way, that there are some things that you have to tighten up and button up in order to move to the next stage. So if you want to know exactly where you are in your entrepreneurial journey, I've created a really fun entrepreneurial stage quiz that I would encourage you to take. It's really quick, 10 questions, but it's going to tell you what stage you're in, regardless of where you think you are. And I'm also going to give you specific tips and tools of things that you have to focus on in each of those stages in order to move on to the next. So let's dive into these stages and where you are and what you need to do to move forward. Okay, stage number 1 of entrepreneurship is the ideation and startup stage. A lot of you who watch CPTV are in this stage, and the ideation stage is where everything begins. All entrepreneurs begin here. Now, you can be in this stage for a very long time if you don't button up and tighten up and do what you need to do. And you'll oftentimes find yourself, even if you think you've progressed, coming back to this stage because you can't get out of it until you've done the things and ultimately tackled the challenges that you're facing. Now, the top 3 challenges in this stage is idea validation. This is huge because as entrepreneurs, we always focus on what our idea is, but we oftentimes don't spend enough time validating that idea and really determining if the idea is a good one and who our market is so that we can target them in order for them to buy from us.
Say, hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
Because the number one reason why businesses fail is that they don't have enough sales. They don't have enough customers. They don't have enough leads. And oftentimes people will automatically associate this with marketing. But the fact is, you cannot market if you don't know what and who your market is. And this is the stage that you figure all of that out. This is really about validating the idea, researching the market, researching the competition, and really truly understanding where you fit in and if the idea that you've come up with is a good one. This is also a stage where you are setting up your business structure, the basic foundation, making your business official. You are setting up your LLC, you are getting your business address, you are getting your business email, you're doing all of those things. And sometimes you find yourself coming back and forth in doing that and maybe changing things and not doing it right because you didn't really know all of the steps that it took in order to get there, which is why I encourage you to take that entrepreneurial quiz, because I am going to give you some golden nuggets in each of these stages and really tell you what you got to do and tighten up in order to get to the next stage. And one of those is definitely setting up the business structure and making it official. I am telling you this from personal experience and from the fact that I have gotten through this stage several times and been able to get to the next few stages in order to achieve my dreams. But I had to learn everything there was to learn about this stage. And so in this stage, a fear of failure is also truly prevalent. you are stressed. You are thinking that you can't move forward and you're afraid to move forward because you don't know if you're doing the right things. You don't know if you're doing it in the right order. And you really just want to know what those steps are. Again, check out the entrepreneurial quiz because I give you all of those steps. Overcoming personal doubts in this stage is absolutely critical. And the risk of starting something new is something that you're going to grapple with because it's scary and it's overwhelming and you aren't sure. That is okay.
Nice.
It is absolutely normal. You are not going crazy. The key to overcoming that fear is to equip yourself with enough information and enough data to build that confidence in this stage. So my tips for you in order to move on to the next stage is to pick one business idea and make sure that you spend the time validating it. That is the most important piece of this stage. This allows you to test the idea with real users, making sure that you know what your market is, you know who your target market is, you know who your ideal customer is, you know if you fit in, you know your unique value proposition, you know your niche, you know all of those things, and you can from that information say, this is the right idea, I've got a great shot at this, and you can move forward with setting up that business structure. So my biggest tip again is to pick one idea. So many of you out there tell me that you've got multiple businesses that you are trying to start at the same time. Big mistake. You don't know enough about entrepreneurship to juggle multiple businesses at the same time. Do not overdo it. You can always branch out once you get one business going and stable and growing and scaling. You can always start another business. There is nothing preventing you from doing that. So pick one idea that you want to start with, validate that idea, and then move on to stage number 2. Now, stage number 2 is the business planning stage. And this is, once your idea is validated, it is definitely time to put your game plan together. A business plan is so critical. And I oftentimes get the question, do I need a business plan? It depends on what type of business plan you are asking me about, but you definitely need a business plan. The business planning transforms your validated business idea into a feasible business model. It determines what your game plan is going to be. It figures out your operations, how you're going to sell your product, what the steps are going to be, your process for delivering the product or service. It gives you the opportunity to think through all of the nuances and details before you jump in. So many entrepreneurs skip this and they do not make the business plan and they jump right into selling typically a non-validated idea. And then they're like, why isn't anybody buying it? Why am I not making any money? And then they start to feel like they are failing and that they're stupid and all of those things. And that's just not the fact. You probably have a great idea. You just didn't validate it well enough in stage number 1. And you didn't create and take the time to work on the business before you started it. Working on the business is so critical, not just in the very beginning in this stage, but throughout your entrepreneurial journey and every single thing that you do in your business, you're going to want to set aside time to work on it. But in this business planning stage, it's the perfect opportunity before there's a whole lot at risk. And so your top 3 challenges in this stage are going to be creating the business plan, because most of us don't just have that skill and know how to create a business plan that is simple, that we can actually use and implement, and that covers all of the aspects. But your business plan needs to cover everything from operations to marketing to a financial projection. So you know how much this business is going to cost you. You know how much money you're truly going to need. It's going to give you that action plan. The other biggest challenge that you face is understanding your market completely. Now, if you did a good job in stage number 1 at the market research, you shouldn't face this challenge a whole lot, but you are still going to be kind of tweaking in this stage, right? Tweaking what you find out, because you're going to continually be finding out more and more information. And so you're still trying to really, truly understand the market so that you know what direction to go in. And this stage is also a challenge in setting realistic goals. You don't really know what the goal should be. You don't know if you should be targeting, certain revenue amounts or certain number of customers yet, because you're still new and figuring this out. And so this is the stage where your goals have to be very smart, very specific, very measurable, and very realistic. And that all comes with creating that business plan. Now, There are multiple types of business plans. There's truly a business growth strategy. I like to create a simplified business plan that you can actually implement here, because sometimes if they're too complicated and too big, you just cannot implement them and they just become like in a file folder, a piece of paper that you never look at again. And then there's also the business plan, which is going out there to get investments. And those are very, very detailed and a lot more cumbersome. But even if you have that one that's designed to go out there and get you investors, I always recommend a simplified one for you to use so that you can ultimately grow the business. And so my tips for you in this stage, in order to move on to the next stage, which is where it really gets fun and sexy and all that kind of good stuff, is to develop a flexible, simple business plan that allows for adjustments as you gather real world data and feedback, because you're in the thick of creating this business and pushing your product and service forward. So creating a flexible, simplified business plan is a big tip. And then also make sure that it's dynamic and that it includes all the core things that you need in order to keep yourself focused. Because this stage, like the first one, you can tend to be all over the place and chasing shiny balls and looking all over the place and being distracted by the squirrels and everything that comes your way you want to pursue and you want to go after, which is natural as an entrepreneur, but the business plan keeps you focused. And you have to just continually tell yourself, if it ain't in the plan, I ain't gonna worry about it right now. I'm sure I'll get back to it. I'll put it in the parking lot for later on, but the plan is the plan is the plan. And in this stage, you have to create and focus on the plan. Now, I've described 2 of the stages so far, and I just got a question for you. Are you in between these stages? Do you see yourself in both of these stages? Well, I'm here to tell you that you can't be in both. You either are in one or the other. It's kind of like being a little bit pregnant. You can't be a little bit pregnant. You either are or you aren't. And so if you're trying to figure out what stage you truly are in, I totally recommend that you take my entrepreneurial stage quiz. It's fun, it's quick. The link will be in the description and the comments. Click it, take the quiz. I will tell you where you are, and most importantly, I also will send you a personalized video telling you what you need to focus on accomplishing and checking off your list in that stage so that you can move to the next stage. So make sure that you check out the entrepreneurial quiz description and link in the description below and in the comments. And while you are down there, do not forget to like and subscribe and leave me a comment about where you think you are, what stage you think you're in. If you think you're in between, just put in between in the comments below. Or you can put stage 1 or stage 2 or stage 3 and stage 4, because I'm about to get into those right now. All right, stage number 3 is the execution stage. And this is the part that you have gotten to because you've got a solid plan. You've done the first one, you are in the second one, and the business planning, you've got that solid plan, so you're out of the second stage. And now you enter execution, where your actual actions begin to materialize, right? Your ideas and your plans begin to materialize into action. The top 3 challenges in this phase, because you are officially launching your business, you are putting all of the work, blood, sweat, and tears that you've done so far out to the public to see if anyone is going to bite. And the biggest challenges in this stage is really going to be getting your first few customers. That's the biggest challenge. Also, generating your leads and your cash flow so that it can validate this blood, sweat, and tears that you've done. And also keeping your mental state intact, because this is where some of the disappointment will kick in, and honestly, some of the imposter syndrome will start to kick in, because in your mind, you think that this is so great and everybody needs this and a bunch of people are going to get it. And then you begin to realize that it's going to take some work and some marketing and some stepping outside of your comfort zone and some different stuff in order for you to get those first few customers. And so this is the stage where you are executing, but you are mostly focused around getting the initial customers. And I would tell you that generating leads, getting your first few customers, and meeting customer expectations, because you're still kind of dabbling with how you're going to deliver your product and service, and making sure that the product and service is the best one for you in this stage. So those are some of the challenges, but it's okay. Here is my advice for you in order for you to move out of this stage. Number one tip is to create a strong lead generation process and have your process in place to get your clients and to convert them. This is the biggest bottleneck in this stage, right? You aren't seeing the traction. And so a lead gen strategy that you can consistently put in place, and then knowing that your sales process, that initial sales process and service delivery process is so tight that when those leads come in, you can convert them and you can create really high conversion rates in this stage. Because that will validate everything for you and give you an opportunity to begin to invest back into your business so that you can grow even further. But most importantly, it's going to do wonders for your mental state, because you're finally going to be like, okay, I'm on to something. People are actually giving money for this, and I can see where success can come. So that's my biggest tip: lead generation and your initial sales and service processes, and you will move out of this stage into stage number 4. Now, stage number 4 is where it gets really good and where all of us really want to be, and that is the growth and expansion stage. You have made it to the growth stage, my love, where you expand and scale your operations. When you are here, your business is making money, right? You are in the 6-figure, multiple 6-figure, approaching 7 figures, in the 7 figures, maybe approaching 8 or 9-figure range. And you are able to pay yourself a really good salary. You are building your team. You are figuring out ways to kind of grow and scale. And this is where entrepreneurs begin to see their empires truly taking shape. So this is kind of the gold, like the light at the end of the tunnel, and you really want to get to this stage. Now, that doesn't mean that this stage don't come with its own challenges, because it does. The top challenges in this stage is going to be scaling your operations, and that's continuing to grow without compromising the quality or the customer service. Things can be moving really fast, and you've got to continually create additional customer service strategies in this stage. You may be deciding to add additional products or services, which will ultimately, honestly, take you back a few stages, because you've got to still go through the same research. You got to figure out who your ideal customer is. You got to create lead generation processes every single time you come out with a new product or service. And I think that that's an interesting thing to make sure that we're talking about, right? Every product or service that you add to your business will start at stage 1, believe it or not, which is why oftentimes I tell you guys, yeah, those all sound like great products and services that you want to offer in your business. And you come to me with like 5 or 6 different products and services, and I think they're great. But you can only do one at a time, because every single time you do a new one, you go all the way back to stage 1 with the product, right? You got to do the market research. You got to find the niche. You got to find your UVP. You got to create the plan, the launch plan and strategy. You got to create the lead gen strategy. You got to create sales process and customer service delivery and your operation. You got to do all of the stages again for every product and service that you deliver. So that's a challenge, because you are also busy with your existing customers. And that's what I mean when I say scaling your operations without compromising your existing customer service is a big challenge. And then also staying innovative, right? And growing a team. Because this is huge in this stage. You're trying to figure out and navigate that new component, growing your team, and ultimately, gaining the leadership skills and making things more efficient and putting in automations and putting in processes. This is that stage. So here's some tips for you to move beyond this, because there is a stage after this. I'm not going to get into it today because it's really kind of maturity and like exiting and figuring out what you're going to do with the legacy and all that kind of stuff. But tips to move beyond this is to focus on your processes and creating efficiency. Maximizing and optimizing efficiency in your operational processes, your sales, your service, your marketing, your lead gen, all of those things is where you got to focus your attention in this stage. When you optimize it, it becomes easier to manage the scaling piece, adding products or services, looking for new innovations. You can do all of that once you've optimized. Also, keep focused on gradual scaling. Don't overdo it. Don't grow too fast. Businesses fail from growing too fast, just like they fail from not growing fast enough. And so you want to make sure that you are gradually scaling and that you're making smart investments in your team. Smart investments. Do not just hire for the sake of hiring, or don't hire someone for your team because someone else over there made a hire or someone else is telling you this is who you need. You really have to know your processes in order to know who you need in your business to help you implement those processes. That's all that team building is about. finding the right positions to do the right things in your business. And everyone's business is different. So that's a challenge in this phase, and I would definitely tell you that is my tip. Gradually scale and then make smart investments, and then also avoid overextension, right? Avoid overdoing it. Like when you're in the very beginning, and I'm telling you, if you're a startup, don't start with too many products or services. If you are growing and scaling, don't throw 5 new products out there at the same time. There's a reason why Apple introduces 1 new product every year or every 2 years. There's a reason why, big companies introduce new products every once in a while, because it takes time to do it. And you'll very rarely see the big boys or the most successful companies just throwing new products and services out there all at the same time, because it's impossible to maximize them. So don't overextend, prioritize what you're going to get the highest return on your investment for, and also what resonates with your core business values and doesn't waste money, and pay attention to what you need to pull away from, what you need to stop selling, what products and services are not profitable. And that all happens, I would say, in this stage, because you got to create an annual growth strategy. So yeah, stage number 4 is exciting, but it comes with its own crap, just like everything else. So it does. So there you have it. Mastering each of these stages not only brings you closer to your entrepreneurial dreams, but it will also build the foundation for you to grow your empire. You are not crazy. You are probably exactly where you need to be right now because you haven't done something that needs to be done in one of these stages, or you're right on the precipice of moving through that and getting to that next stage. So if you're not sure which stage you're in, make sure that you take my entrepreneurial stage quiz. Knowing where you are will give you the light at the end of the tunnel so that you know what you need to do in order to move through the next stage. I'm not making up these stages. These are real. This is basic. This is what they teach in business school. It is what it is. They may have different names, but trust me, I'm not just doing it for my education, but I've experienced it over and over and over again. And make sure you take the quiz in the description in the comments below. While you're down there, drop me a comment and let me know what stage you're in or what stage you believe you're in. And let's discuss how we can move you forward and move you to that next stage. And I want you to stay motivated, stay empowered, stay inspired. And until next time, my loves, I will see you very soon. Bye-bye. Mwah!